Hey, what's going on, everybody? Valor here with another MVD exclusive video. So listen, check this out. I see so many guys who are in relationships. All right, now we're not talking about dating. We're not talking about hookups or FWBs. Although a little bit of it, I guess there is probably some crossover that could happen here. But by and large, what we're talking about is a girl that you've been in a relationship with for any amount of time, okay? Maybe you've been dating and decided to have a monogamous relationship, and it's only been a month. Or maybe it's been a year. Maybe it's been 2 years, okay? But the thing is that what I find is so often is that guys, they just let things persist. Things that are rubbing them the wrong way, and they don't speak their mind. They don't voice their opinion. They become the nice guy. Happy wife, happy life, and that kind of thing. And they never speak up and talk about what's bothering them. But at a certain point in time, man, enough is enough. And if she's treating you poorly, it's time to let her go. It's time to cut it loose. But there are some things that you can do before that to keep that from happening. All right, you just have to be able to communicate it and talk about it. And I got a few ways that you can talk about it that hopefully it works out, man. I'm not going to say that it definitely will, but at least you'll be doing yourself the solid of putting in a last-ditch effort. All right, so that's the deal. We're going to get into it right now. Let's get it. Number one, know what you want and know what you don't want. All right, so look, how do you know? All right, so maybe look back at your previous relationships. And if you're a guy who has very little relationship experience, and that's okay, man. We've all been there, all right? If you're that guy, look at other people's relationships as a template, okay, or an example to show you what relationships kind of look like, all right? Look back at those previous relationships, and in every one of those relationships, there's going to be things in it that you like, and there's going to be things that you didn't like, all right? Now, the things that you didn't like must have outweighed the things that you did, because you'd probably still be with her if that was the case. Or she dumped you, in which case, is what it is. But here's the thing. There's going to be things, there is no perfect relationship. There's no completely 100% imperfect relationship. There's going to be things about each other, at least at certain point in times, that you liked how she treated you. I really liked when she did this. Maybe it was surprising you with a meal, like your favorite meal, and you weren't expecting it, and boom, she made it for you. She knew you were going through some things, and she wanted to hook you up. Okay, maybe there's that. Or another example might be something sexual, just out of the blue, hey, we're going to do this tonight, that kind of thing. And you like that spontaneity, all right? Maybe one of the things that you didn't like is you didn't like the way that she would talk to you when she's upset, okay? You didn't like her tone. You thought it was condescending, that kind of thing. Or maybe you didn't like the fact that maybe she's sloppy, in the sense of, she doesn't pick up after herself, and everything's a mess. Her car's a mess. Her house is a mess. Everything's a mess, except for maybe her, And so you didn't really like that too much. Okay, well, look, go over those past relationships. The things that you really, really liked, those are things to screen for in your current relationship and start steering. And I don't mean control, okay? That's not what I'm trying to say here. But what I am trying to say is, voice the fact that you like when your girl does this. Compliment her. Let her know, like, hey, you know what? I really like when you do that. Like, that's really cool. Encourage her. Motivate her to want to do it more, And the things that you don't like, you got to let her know, man. You got to nip that in the bud. And maybe it's not even in the bud anymore. It might be full blown if you've been in the relationship long enough. But at some point in time, you have to tell her, look, this isn't going to fly. I don't like the way that you're doing this. I'm not saying that you're a bad person, but what I am saying is this isn't the way that I expect you to act, okay? You need to straighten it up, okay? So know what it is that you like, know what it is that you don't, and try to reinforce both of those things, okay? And there's gonna be a culmination. I gave you a few examples, but there's gonna be many, 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 many examples, and some are gonna be more important than others, and so on and so forth, but I think you get the idea. All right, we're gonna get number 2. Let's go. Number 2, express your expectations, okay? We kind of touched on it a little bit in the first point, but, here's the thing. You know what it is that you want. We already talked about that. Now, it's like, how do you express that to her? How do you voice your expectations in a way that doesn't come across as ultra controlling or manipulative or something like that? That's not really what you want to do. What you want to do is, basically like this. If there's a thing that she has done once or twice, but it's not a common occurrence, but she's done it several times, it is something that you really, really like. Let her know that, okay? For instance, I'll give you an example. Say one time she walked your dog when you didn't feel good. All right, you're sick, and, dog's still got to go out. Dog's not sick, he's got to go out and do his thing, and she's there, and she didn't even, she just went ahead and did it without even saying, like, hey, do you think, should I go walk the dog? She just went ahead and did it and all that kind of stuff. And she did it once or twice and never really again. Express to her that you really liked that you love those types of things about her when she does those types of things. Now, you're not setting her up to be your dog walker. What you are setting her up is to let her know that she's appreciated, that you like that, and other things of that sort. It doesn't have to be specifically the dog thing. It can be anything that's helpful to you, that you resonate with, and you reinforce that. Another thing that you could do is, even if she didn't do it, you could say, I really like the fact that you're so spontaneous. Even though she's not spontaneous, what that is going to make her feel is that she's going to say, I don't really think I'm that spontaneous, but maybe I am. I need to kind of step that up a little bit because he really appreciates that. Okay, now she's just going to start doing it. And then conversely, the things that are bugging you, things that infringe upon your boundaries, to really communicate that is to let her know that she isn't a bad person, that you don't think that she's awful as a human being or anything like that. It's like, I don't like that you did this. I don't think you're a bad person or anything like that, but this particular thing, that has to stop. And you have to be firm about it. It can't be wishy-washy. Like, I don't really like when you do that too much. I'd really appreciate it if, like, maybe you kind of took down that angry tone down a notch. Hopefully I'm not making you mad right now. And no, you have to be firm about it and direct, okay? But just so she knows, you're not making an indictment on her. It's an indictment on her action. Many people, we've all done it. You, I, everybody. We've done things that we've regretted that really isn't part of our personality and who we are. We just made a mistake. And that may have been her, okay? So, think of it kind of like this. Was what she was doing, was it malicious? Okay? If it was malicious, it's a little bit different of a story, But if it was just a dumb mistake that she keeps making, you gotta let her know. There's no two ways about it. All right, we're gonna get number 3. Let's get it. Just wanted to take this quick time out just to remind you, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, do so now. Why? Because look, the information here is essential for you to get out here and start leveling up your dating life, leveling up your professional life, and leveling up your life in general, man. So look, subscribe to the channel, share it with somebody that you know needs to see it, and I know that you do. Give us a thumbs up. All that good stuff, man. And also, August 28th, we're going to be doing our live Zoom event that we do every single month on the last Saturday of the month. And this one's going to be about, now that things are opening up, you can get back out a little bit, start meeting some new people. How are you going to do that when you've been locked in a cage for the last 16 months or however long, right? So look, that's what we're going to cover, is shaking off the rust. All right, so that's the deal, man. We're gonna hop back into the video. Let's get it. Number 3, the punishment should fit the crime. All right, so look, here's the deal, man. Everybody has different boundaries and everybody has different expectations and standards and things like that. And you should have all of those things. You shouldn't just be walking into a relationship with no boundaries, no standards, no expectations, because that's a recipe for disaster. So everybody has different boundaries and expectations and standards and all that. And I think we can all understand that. There's healthy boundaries and there's unhealthy boundaries. All right. But, like for instance, if you get annoyed by the fact that when you go out to dinner, she steals something off your plate every single time, and that annoys you, okay, is that really worth breaking up over? If you think that it is, I mean, it's your call, but it's not really that big of a deal. It's mildly annoying. And that's what I mean by the punishment fitting the crime. Now, if she's going out and flirting with dudes all in front of you and stuff like that, that's a lot different, obviously. So when you check her and enough is enough, and you got to check her, you got to let her know, like, in the context of what she's doing, that it bothers you and things like that, but you're not going to break up with her over it. It's not that big of a deal. I think guys oftentimes are afraid to address things because, they think that, well, one, the girl might break up with them. Oh, that's not even that big of a deal. I'm just going to leave you then, Or she, by you voicing that she's going to take that as you're about to break up with her when you're not. So you don't have to have a crazy serious tone about the fact that she stole a cookie. Not a big deal, There's a million cookies. You can eat another one, It's not the end of the world. But if something is very, very, very seriously wrong, the way I look at it is like this, okay? It's kind of a 3-strike rule. And it depends on the level of what is the most serious infraction to me. I'm the king of my castle. I'm going to lay down the laws, and you're going to obey those laws. If you don't obey those laws, you're not going to be in the castle. And it's as simple as that. But the thing is, some laws are capital punishment. Some laws are just, me being annoyed at you, So, it just depends on what it is, But if she's doing it maliciously just to get under my skin, or she's doing something very malicious because she knows that, it's just going to piss me off or something like that, that's a whole different ball game. So the intent is really what matters in what she's doing and when enough is enough. Enough is enough might come down to like, look, this is not going to work. I've told you about this several times and nothing has changed, and this just is not acceptable to me. So we're just going to have to part ways. Now that is something that a lot of guys are afraid to say. But if she knows that you will do it and stand by it, it'll make a world of difference. Speaking of which, we're going to get into that in number 4. Let's go. Number 4, have resolve. All right, what do I mean by that? What I mean is, okay, you know what you want. You know what you like. You know what you don't. You're laying down expectations, right? All things that we've talked about. You see what she's doing, and you're trying to come up with the punishment for the crime, right? When you do, stand by it. Have resolve. Stick with it. Don't let it slide. Ever. Ever, 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 ever. Do not let it slide. Because every time that you let her slide on something you told her not to do and she continues to do, and you're just kind of like, nah, it's not even worth the argument. That type of thing. Every time you do that, your respect gets chipped away at from her perspective. And the more respect that goes out the window, the more attraction she loses for you. Okay, respect plus trust equals attraction. Okay, so she has to trust you and she has to respect you. And the more that respect gets eroded at because you just let stuff slide, just because, why rock the boat, like everything's okay outside of this. The more that you do that, the more you're opening yourself up for other things to happen. And the thing is that if you let things continuously slide, it's only going to open the door for more things. Okay, so always enforce that. Have resolve. And if enough is truly enough and she's out of your life, no contact. Block her on everything. Do not open up the window for like, well, let's have a conversation. Let's just talk about it. I'm really sorry. And, it won't ever happen again. And yeah, like the last 5 times you said it wouldn't happen again, right? So don't open up that window for her to be able to climb through, okay? Shut it down, have the resolve, stick by it, and stick to your guns, all right? So in this video, we talked a lot about expectations. We talked about having standards and boundaries and things of that sort. So a little while back, we did a video on boundaries, how to set boundaries, how to enforce those boundaries. And we go really deep on it, man. And I think that you would benefit greatly by going to that video and see exactly what we're talking about, exactly how to do it, because it applies so much to what we just talked about that I think it'll make a real difference in your relationship or future relationships, okay? So head on over there and I will see you there.